you can improve the steam dryness fraction say by 10 to 20% in your steam distribution network from the boiler to the loads. How this can be improved upon? Let us go in depth. Let us say you are generating around 1 ton of steam average in your 2 ton boiler, but the steam dryness fraction is only 80% and your boiler delivers only 800 kg of steam and the balance 200 kg of water only as condensate is delivered to your equipments from the boiler through the steam distribution network, and this wet steam is increasing the productivity loss, that is, it is reducing the productivity, drying productivity of your steam and comes out as return condensate only back to the boiler. Thanks to the illustrations and images from Spirex Sarco. The dryness fraction, two types are there. One is dry saturated steam, the wet saturated steam, and we are the industry demanding more than 95% of the dry saturated steam to be delivered to the equipments. So, are you facing the steam dryness of 80% from your package boiler? How this can be addressed to? The industry suffers from the daily productivity loss in hours due to the wet steam, and the boiler running hours is more to deliver the thermal productivity of the given process, and hence consumes more of wood or biomass or fossil fuel. Thousands of small package boilers in clusters in India deliver wet steam only, and for that lakhs of tons of firewood or biomass or coal etc. as fuel is consumed much more daily. So, to improve the steam dryness, two stages of moisture separation is suggested. One is moisture separator at the boiler delivery head. The second stage moisture separation at the control valves, before the control valves, before the PRV, before the flow meter, and even any big equipments are there. This moisture separator needs to be installed to improve the dryness fraction at the to be delivered at the equipments. The moisture from the steam to be separated first now at the boiler output header. This is the first stage of moisture separation, and then only you have to think of moisture separation at the PRDS and other aspects in the steam distribution up to the tail end of the equipments. And what all the water that is drained from the separated from the moisture separator, it is taken back to the boiler feed water tank, and the moisture separator near the boiler. So, the shorter the distance, it is able to raise the feed water tank temperature of the boiler, and the condensate temperature is retrieved as feed water. The water in the steam system means water hammer happens, then the reduced plant performance and the contamination. So, this can be avoided by installing first stage moisture separator at the boiler outlet header, and this moisture separator is different from the moisture separators that is installed at the load ends. This needs to have an air vent, and the dry steam is delivered to the process through the steam distribution lines. I am just sharing a typical case study done by Petroleum Conservation Research Association. They are basically an integrated energy solution provider coming under the Ministry of Oil and Gas. The case study has been done a decade back, and you can see the boiler without moisture separator. In the right side, moisture separator installed. What is the statistics after the installation? The boiler capacity is only 850 kg per hour, and the fuel is 50 LPH, 50 liters per hour. The LDO is the fuel, light density oil is used here. The boiler run hours daily is around 18 hours, and boiler was feeding to the reactor and dryers all indirect heating applications only, and the TD traps, thermodynamic traps, are used at the drain points. The industry felt after the PCRI had done the energy audit here, the industry felt, let us install the moisture separator. It is made mandatory as suggested in the energy audit report. So, they installed it, and after installation you can see the fuel rate reduced from 50 LPH to 45 LPH, 10% reduction in the fuel, and the boiler run hours also reduced from 18 hours to 14 hours. This industry invested around 8,000 rupees for the moisture separator. The annual reduction in the fuel bill is almost 10 lakh rupees, and the production capacity increased after the installation of the moisture separator, and the availability of the machine for longer durations is also ensured here. So, the moisture separator well illustrated here. If the moisture separator is not done at the output of the boiler, the condensate water film increases over long pipeline distances from the boiler end to the equipment end. You can see the river of condensate getting collected in the steam lines, and it is damaging the steam lines and it is damaging the equipment as well. You can see the exploded view of the moisture separator where the air vent needs to be there, especially at the boiler outlet header. The air and the incondensable gases need to be vented. When the wet steam is entering from the boiler, the dry steam is going to the process and the moisture is separated, needs to be trapped out and feeding back to the boiler feed water tank. The moisture can be separated only when the steam direction is changed inside the moisture separator and air to vent from the top of the boiler at the outlet header. It is mandatory to install this pipeline moisture separator, we call it as PLMS, to small size package boilers. The modern package boilers have limited steam and evaporation space inside the boiler, and this results in higher steam takeoff velocities at the outlet header. So, the production of wet steam by the boiler under certain circumstances of the day during the operation, it happens in many times of the day during normal industry running. So, let us first fine tune the boiler level control by resetting the boiler level Mowbray switch setting and ensure the boiler drum level is maintained around 50% to avoid the water carryover to the steam outlet. Then let us focus on the moisture separation by installing the moisture separator to improve the thermal productivity immediately and restore the health of the boiler and steam system and as well as the equipments also. The moisture separator, the inside view of the moisture separator, you can see the function of the moisture separator. It consists of baffles inside, and the moisture that is entrained in the steam, it collides with the baffles, and due to the drop in velocity of the steam, this gets separated, water gets separated from the steam and gets evacuated through the TD trap at the bottom of the moisture separator. Also, coming to the steam distribution network, you please visit your existing steam flow meter specifications and the installation diagram. Your flow meters normally in general is designed for 95% dryness fraction of the steam. But if you are giving only 80% as dryness fraction, then your flow meter faces the measurement errors, physical erosion, the life of the flow meter, the calibration of the flow meter, the signal instability and the sensitivity of the flow meter also gets affected. So, ensure the moisture separator is functioning rightly to avoid the above errors and defects, especially in your steam system. The moisture separator, apart from the flow meters, the moisture separator should be installed in the following locations of your steam distribution, and if it is not done, the thermal components in the steam distribution as well as the equipments will malfunction. So, after the main steam delivery valve, after the crown valve at the boiler delivery header, the critical process equipments where this wet steam can damage the equipments are the steam ejectors, where the wet steam can cause the nozzle wear and tear, leading to deterioration of vacuum and higher energy or steam consumption. Before critical pipeline accessories like PRV or PRDS and flow meters and control valves, which are more prone to damage due to the wet steam. The flow meter readings also go erratic and due to the wet steam. Before the steam enters the plant building from outside, there also the moisture separator is required, so that the condensation is higher due to the difference in temperature within the plant and outside the plant. Coming to the PRV, your PRV also will function healthily for years in your steam distribution, provided the moisture separator installed ahead of your PRV and it is functioning rightly always, and routinely confirm the operation of the moisture separator ahead of the PRV for the regular pressure regulation of the steam in the steam distribution network. The disadvantages of the wet steam in your thermal process and the moisture separators when installed in the right locations of the steam distribution network help to avoid the following defects as below. One is the corrosion and scaling in the steam distribution lines, pipelines, the water hammer that is happening in the steam lines occasionally and often happens due to the wet steam in the lines. The reduced heat transfer, ultimately the boiler has delivered the steam, but because of wet steam the heat transfer is reduced to the when it is delivered to the process, and it also increases the load on the steam traps, and ultimately it damages the equipments also. The accelerated damage that happens to the equipments due to the wet steam, this can be avoided by installing the moisture separator in the right locations of the steam distribution network at the boiler house till the process equipments end. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.